Hi, fifth graders. Hope everyone's having a good day. I'm actually filming these the day before you guys see them. So it is St. Patrick's Day, and my boys and I are in our green, and we're getting outside a little bit today. It's such a nice day, so hopefully you guys are enjoying a nice day as well. So for today's number talk, figured we'll do some multiplication with decimals here. So the problem I'm going to have you take a look at today is 2 and 25/100 times 96. So if you want to pause the video for a second and think about how you might solve that, think about what your strategy would be, and go ahead and share with someone around you if you have the chance, and then I'll go ahead and share my strategy here. So in order to solve this problem, I'm going to focus on the whole number first. And I'm going to go ahead and do 96 times 2. And remember, this is all supposed to be done mentally, so we want to use a mental strategy to try and figure out how we might figure this out. So instead of doing 96 times 2, I'm going to go ahead and make this 100 times 2, which I know easily is 200. So then if I'm trying to solve 96 times 2, I'm going to have to go ahead and take 8 away, right? Because I actually went up 4 from 96 to 100 and multiplied that by 2. So I'm going to have to go ahead and take away 8 from this 200, which leaves me with 192. So just by doing the ones place, 2 times 96, I'm already at 192. Now I've got to try and figure out how I can use this decimal to multiply by my whole number of 96. So I know that 25/100 is equal to 1/4. So I'm going to think about this in terms of fractions. So if I were to take 1/4 of 96, I'm going to go ahead and figure out what the rest of this problem would be equal to. So I know that 1/4, again, I'm going to put it equal to 100 because that's a little bit easier to do mentally. 1/4 of 100 I know is 25, and since 96 is 4 less than 100, I know that 1/4 of 96 must be 24. So now I'm going to go ahead and add together the individual parts of the problem that I did. 192 plus 24. All right, my third grader Patrick wants to help me add this together now. So how would you add 192 plus 24?
First, I did 4 plus 2 is 6.
Okay.
Then I did 90 plus 20 is 110. And I put the 1, so it's now I take the 100 away from 110. And I did 100 plus 100 is 200. So it's 216.
Okay, so now you've got to take the 200 plus the 10 that was left here, plus the 6 ones, and you got 216. All right, so that's how we solve this problem mentally. If you had a different strategy, again, you're welcome to comment on the video if you did it a little differently, or if you agree, go ahead and let us know that you agree. Otherwise, hopefully you're able to share a strategy with someone around you today. Have a great day.
Let's say I have the number 905, 905.074. So how could I expand this out? What does this actually represent? So let's just think about each of the place values here. The 9 right over here, this is in the hundreds place. This literally represents 9 hundreds. So we could rewrite that 9 as 9 hundreds, or let me write it two ways. We could write it as 900, which is the same thing as 9 times 100. Now this is 0. That's just going to represent 0 tens, but 0 tens is still just 0, so we don't have to really worry about that. It's not adding any value to our expression or to our number. Now we have this 5. This 5 is in the ones place. It literally represents 5 ones, or you could just say it represents 5. Now if we wanted to write it as 5 ones, we could say, well, that's going to be 5 times 1. So far we've represented 905. 900 plus 5, or 9 times 100 plus 5 times 1. And you might say, hey, how do I know whether I should multiply or add first? Should I do this addition before I do this multiplication? And I'll always remind you, order of operations, in this scenario, you would do your multiplication before you do your addition. So you would multiply your 5 times 1 and your 9 times 100 before adding these two things together. But let's move on. You have another 0. This 0 is in the tenths place. This is telling us the number of tenths we're going to have. This is 0 tenths, so it's really not adding much. Or it's not adding anything. Now we go to the hundredths place. The hundredths place. So this literally represents 7 hundredths. So we could write this as 7 hundredths, or 7 times 100th. So plus 7 times 100th. And then finally we go to the thousandths place. So we go to the thousandths place, and we have 4 thousandths. So that literally represents 4 over 1,000, or 4 times 1,000th. 4 times 1,000th. Notice, this is coming from the hundreds place. This is coming from the hundreds place. You have 0 tens, but I'll write the tens place there just so you see it. So it's 0 tens, so I didn't even bother to write that down. Then you have your ones place. You have 5 ones. Then you have 0 tenths, so I didn't write that down. Then you have 7 hundredths, and then you have 4 thousandths, 4 thousandths. So, and we are done. We've written this out, really just understanding what this number represents.